We are gearing up for a brutal stretch of winter weather, which includes 2 winter storms with significant snow and ice concerns, and a very big Arctic blast, the likes of which we have not seen since 2014, 11 years ago. So, welcome back here to Weather on the Go. My name is Hunter, and in this forecast, we're going to dive into everything that you need to know from the winter storms to the very cold temperatures and wind chills ahead. So, follow along with all my daily updates, and simply do that by subscribing to the channel. Turn on the post notifications so you're notified when I do my 2-a-days, late morning, early afternoon, and then again in the evening, such as now with my videos and or the live streams as well. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Let's look at where we were at this afternoon. An incredible feat up here into northern Illinois where I live. We achieved 53 degrees in my backyard, and that was just 7 degrees away from tying an all-time record on January 17th, dating all the way back to 1894, and 8 degrees away from breaking that record. So just some incredible stuff, and that 50-degree line actually lifted into southern Wisconsin this afternoon. Looking at those temperature anomalies up here across the Midwest, even into Ontario, 30 degrees above the norm for where we should be in this time of year. And here's where we go into tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be on the tumble as an Arctic front will be entering the United States and making good headway down here into portions of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. Behind it, temperatures will be into the single digits and the teens. Looking here at some of the wintry weather we have to contend with over the next couple of days, we have winter weather advisories where we expect some snow from Idaho, Montana, down into parts of Wyoming, Colorado, and respectively down here in Northeast New Mexico, parts of the Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, and up here as well across North Dakota and Minnesota. Those are for lighter snowfall concerns. We have winter storm watches further to the east, stretching just west of Boston, including Massachusetts there, Connecticut, the Hartford area, into portions there of New York City, northern Jersey, southeastern Pennsylvania into the Poconos, into portions of Maryland, northern Virginia, and down the Appalachians and West Virginia. That's where we're gearing up for several inches of accumulating snow as we go into the weekend. So let's look at this tonight. We got some rain, and those warmer temperatures will offer up more rainy conditions than snowy conditions. Some heavier rains can be expected from Paducah to Evansville over here into central Kentucky, like Lexington, Richmond, and then down here into the plateau, Cumberland Plateau, that is, of eastern Tennessee. So Crossville, Knoxville, seeing some heavier rains. Going into Saturday, got some rain-snow mix, kind of a crappy day, really, across portions of the eastern Great Lakes, as we have a lot of snow, a lot of rain out here into Ohio, western PA, and even into western New York State as well. Going into Saturday night, we see that first storm system exit the region, maybe bringing some heavier snows up into northern Maine, like Caribou, some coastal rains there for Maine. And then here comes our second low pressure down here. You can see some blues with the snow. The green is the rain, and that is further to the south. And then as we go into Sunday, all-out snowstorm. But with our first system, we're going to be talking about just a, coating to an inch of snow. Not a big ordeal here. Maybe just a little bit to shovel across the Ohio Valley and into the interior part of the Northeast. Here comes our second system. That's what these winter storm watches were up for. And you could see some heavier snows breaking out along the Appalachians into West Virginia, Kentucky there, and into northern Virginia. And then the heavy snow, yes, this time will include the I-95 corridor up there toward Boston, Hartford, and also Providence there, Rhode Island, New York City, Long Island. Heavier snows as we go into Sunday night. And then going into MLK Day on Monday, we're going to see that kind of clear out and the cold air really starts to move in on the backside. But not before we drop a good 4 to 10 inches of snow from portions of the Appalachians of West Virginia through Maryland up into eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey into southeastern portions of New York State, including New York City, into western and central Massachusetts, parts of Connecticut there up toward Rhode Island, and some heavier snows in eastern Maine as well between Sunday and the MLK Day on Monday. This will cause some travel concerns across the region, especially here back to the west. We got a little bit of some travel concerns in the Rockies, but mainly out here to the east where a more significant winter storm will be from Boston down toward New York City and even toward Philadelphia, Baltimore, and even Washington, D.C. And we're going to see a little bit of some travel restrictions, minor to moderate travel restrictions through your MLK Day, so make sure to take it slow out on those roadways. And make sure to clear the snow because the cold air is coming in. It's going to freeze all the snow on the backside. Here's Saturday, notice the Arctic air really starting to plunge all the way south here toward the Texas Panhandle, becomes more widespread there on Sunday. Look at all these purples, 30, 40 degrees below the norm. for this time of year. And here are our temperatures respectively for Saturday afternoon. The freezing line will end up in the Ohio Valley and the Southern Plains. On the other side of that, temperatures will be here into the teens and 20s in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and then behind that, even further, Northern Plains into portions of Southern Canada. Yeah, that's where those temperatures are going to be sub-zero, and significantly so, where we have probably wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings being issued up here in North Dakota, Montana, and northern Minnesota, as we have minus 20, minus 30 degrees below zero wind chills up here Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon gets even colder, and that freezing line drops even further south toward Little Rock into places like Huntsville and even Atlanta as we get into Sunday afternoon, and those wind chills will be bitterly cold across the north with temperatures and real feel out there, minus 20, minus 30 up across the north. And look at across the Canadian border. Yeah, that's no joke. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, get ready because we could have wind chills approaching minus 40, minus 45 degrees below zero Sunday afternoon. And here it goes. Even stronger we go on MLK Day. We have a 1048 or 1050 high pressure. That is a strong Arctic high across the United States. You're going to be hard pressed to see any clouds in this pattern just simply because we are seeing a lot of high pressure, and this is where we're going to start to see a lot of cold air. While it may look great outside, probably not going to feel very great as temperatures are 40, 50 degrees below the norm for MLK Day, and here are your high temperatures that day. We are barely getting above minus 15 across a good chunk of the upper Midwest, minus 20s for highs in Ontario and Quebec, where the core of that cold air will be. And here are our wind chills that day. Yeah, probably widespread wind chill advisories, wind chill warnings, where we could have real feel of minus 40 in a large chunk of the upper Midwest and even minus 50 in parts of southeastern and southern Canada. So life-threatening wind chills on the way. Make sure to bundle up with layers out there if you have to head out for any errands or anything like that for the weekend and into MLK Day. Let's track our new system as we go into next week. This could be a doozy across the Gulf Coast and the Southeast. We got the trough up here in southeastern Canada. That's where the core of the cold air is. See it extend down toward the Gulf Coast, big ridging out across Alaska, important to bring that cold air down. And looking at that cold air next week, it's going to be in no short supply. We're going to have a lot of it near the Gulf Coast, up the East Coast here, and that's going to take us all the way to Sunday, the 26th. And looking at a low pressure system developing somewhere down here near Texas early next week. We're honing in on that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, and then you can see that low pressure will kind of ride the Gulf Coast there, and up the East Coast we go as we go into the middle of next week. So let's look at a couple scenarios how they could unfold. Here's the European model on Tuesday, bringing that snow line all the way down even into the open waters of the Northwest Gulf, Houston, Lake Charles, and New Orleans. It is snowing on this model on Tuesday, and then we see that zip across the southeast. But yeah, look at that blue snow there from Wilmington into Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and even down there into southern Georgia, and an ice storm, a notable ice storm on this model Tuesday night for North Florida from Jacksonville back to Tallahassee and up there towards Savannah, Georgia. Keeping an eye on that. And then we go into Wednesday, that kind of clears off the East Coast, and we're seeing a little bit of that cold air really kind of filter in on the back side of that as well. Here's the American GFS, kind of similar, maybe a little bit further north with a snow line, but nonetheless, wintry precipitation down toward Houston, Lake Charles, Shreveport, into Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, and then we see a bigger ice storm, it looks like more widespread on the GFS model for South Georgia and much more of the coastal Carolinas there. And looking at Wednesday, that system moves off the coast. The GFS also a little slower of a solution, which hangs on to some snow showers for Cape Hatteras up there into the mid-Atlantic coast on Wednesday. Let's look here and compare these models. European model Tuesday, Wednesday, 21st, 22nd, showing several inches of snow from coastal Texas all along the entirety of the Gulf Coast, even into the panhandle of Florida. North Florida could see a couple inches of snow, and then right up the coastal Carolinas there, and a notable ice storm on the European model for Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville over here toward Tallahassee, where we could actually be seeing up to a quarter, half inch of ice if this did verify. And then the GFS model a little bit further north with the snow track by 25, 50 miles here on the same days, 21st, 22nd next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Significant snow just a little bit further north than the Gulf Coast, but a significant notable ice storm here on this model, more widespread with the ice from parts of the Gulf Coast from Louisiana all the way to the coastal Carolinas with a widespread quarter to half an inch of ice. That would be crippling. Behind this, yes, winter will not end. Believe it or not, we're going to see even more cold air through Monday, January 27th. And that will offer up more opportunities for snow across the deep south, so we may not be done yet. And then a northwest flow pattern here from the Canadian provinces, Alberta, Saskatchewan, dropping some clipper systems down into the Rockies and northern plains as we go through the 27th. And yes, another cold air outbreak across the Pacific Northwest. This one could be a little bit further west as we end the month of January. Maybe not as intense though, but still seeing some cold air, enough for snow. And there you have it. Look at that green on the map. That's above normal precipitation, and that could bring more winter storms across the United States even as we end the month of January on the 31st. So a lot of active weather ahead. Good time to subscribe to the channel and follow along with all of my daily updates. We'll continue with these 2-a-days as long as we have active weather. So late morning, early afternoon, first video, the second video into the evening hours. So subscribe to the channel, like the video if you did enjoy it here, and to get this word out to more and more people so they are staying safe from the winter weather and the cold out there especially. Also, like the video. Again, like I said, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. And of course, share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday out there.